Hey guys, welcome to the TLDR version. What is this version for of the video? It's for the people who only want to spend like 1 to 2 minutes finding out what this is actually about. How long is this going to be? There's a timer up there. They'll tell you how long it is, and once that timer runs up, we'll go to the full review. Alright, so you may recognize this from my older videos. I put a vinyl decal on that. This is the k1GBA SP version. This is the newest possible model from them. This is the Revo 101. It's quite a big change from the original one. It's no longer mimicking a GBA design, which is both good and bad. And also, they've really listened to user feedback. The buttons feel much better. I mean, they're still kind of spongy-ish, but they still definitely feel a lot better than these, and they're way more responsive. Input has been changed. Charging is now micro USB as opposed to the original GBA charger. Sorry, SP/DS charger, so that's much easier. TV out is now handled through a dedicated plug. This is the same type of plug you find on Xbox 360 headsets. Also the same plug as on some really old cell phones. Let's focus on that. All right, brightness has been moved up here. You have two new buttons, X and Y. These are not for Super Nintendo. This is not to play Super Nintendo games. These are simply just for letting you press L and R. It's a little bit shorter than a standard GPA, so if you're used to GBA, your fingers would be a little bit higher. Volume control is on the side. Power is now a button instead of a switch, and instead of just simply pressing it, you have to push down and hold in order for it to turn on or off. The GBA port's been moved to the bottom, and that is pretty nice. You don't have to worry about bumping anything. It won't actually support accessories, most accessories, since there's no little clips like the original SP had. So if you're trying to use an accessory, that may be a problem. Link cables do work. I've tested a bunch of link cables, and they actually worked out pretty well. And overall, it's pretty nice. It plays games just like the original K1. You slide the cartridge in there or use your K card, and you can play games, backups, or mods, including Super Nintendo. Sorry, not Super Nintendo. NES, GBA, Game Boy Color, only from backups. The only cartridge you can actually physically put in here and play are Game Boy Advance. But overall, the screen's really nice. It gives you more scaling options. You can actually scale it down to the original Game Boy Advance resolution. It'll take up a little bit less space, but yeah, the screen is nice, bright, and vibrant. The colors come out really, really nice, actually kind of better than this. And even though most games are made to look brighter, so they look on the dark screen. And yeah, that's about it. It's a really nice unit, definitely way better than the now discontinued k1GBA. This was a really nice unit for its time, but I mean, it's time to step up now. This is a better unit, even though it doesn't mimic a GPA's design. It's not as discreet, but it comes with a bigger battery, louder speakers, better charging, better link port, and everything. So, all right, go ahead and check out the full review for more information. And if you don't want to check out the full review, then I'll see you guys later. All right, bye. Alright, hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the new version of the K1 system. You've seen me do a review of this before, and my review for this should be up by now, but now we're going to do a comparison of two different models. This is the k1GBA, the SP model. This is the one I did the video on before. This is the one I bought on my own money, just kind of interested in it. It turned out to be pretty good. It did have some problems, especially with the buttons, but I mean, overall, it was a pretty fun system, and I just used it to play certain games. More button precise games like Mega Man, not super great for this unit, but overall it was pretty nice. I mean, you can play mods, you could play cartridges, and it even had TV out through the power, but it did have some glaring flaws. So here's the absolute newest model. It's the second revision of their classic SP-ish design. This is a K1 Revo 101 Plus. Let's see if we can get some focus going. Yep, so as you can see, this is more styled towards a Game Boy Advance, the original. It actually has the backlit screen. Yeah, that's right, backlit, not frontlit. And it has some extra buttons here. It's a little bit shorter than a GBA. If you want to see this compared to a GBA, watch my full review of this. This is just going to be comparing these two units right here. Alright, so let's start out with the probably least interesting thing first, just to get out of the way. You've already passed the TLDR version, so you know what you're in for. Alright, let's just pull out the K carts. This is where your game backups would go, and it is also where you'd be putting any like GBA games or NES games you want to play if you don't want to play off the cartridge itself. As you can see, this one has a pretty nice label to it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this one. And this one has no label whatsoever, but it's still pretty nice. You know, has the same look of the other one, except just no label. Looks like a normal cartridge except white. All right, and as you may not know, or maybe you do know, these look exactly the same, and they have the exact same function. They both let you pass a micro SD card into these units, and they are actually switchable. You can use this on this or this on this. So if you have the old model and you want to upgrade, this would be great because you'll have two cards. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the card itself. I have found that the new card actually seems to, I don't know if it's necessary to have better contacts, but it seems to actually work better in the unit. Alright, here we go. K Game Pack version 2.2. This is the newer one. Just in case you want to take a look at the circuit board itself. Here you go. And here's the new one. Slide off the front. And here's what the board looks like. It's just a simple pass-through card. Both of them seem to have the same version, but I guess, I don't know if it's just that it's newer or whatever. This seems to work a lot better in my new unit. Not that this works bad in my new unit, but I guess the contacts are probably cleaner. I didn't bother to really clean them. But it looks to be about the same on the inside. They both have the same version number. I was just taking a quick look. Alright, the only real difference between these units I can find so far is what they're held in by. Let's just reassemble this real quick. The newer models actually use a T3 or 4. It's one of these security screw bits. I believe it's the smallest one I have, which is T3. Again, not super interesting, but I mean it uses a different screw. This one uses a standard Phillips screw. I use a flathead 1.5 millimeter to get it apart. Now for the build itself, the original K1 was clearly based off an SP. I put a vinyl sticker on here just for better design, but as you can see, it pretty much mirrors the original SP's design and shape. I think it might be a little bit shorter actually. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter than the original SP, but most of the dimensions are pretty spot on. As you can see here, they have, although, yeah, okay, that's right. Volume control on the left. As you can see here, power switch on the right. This one is a little bit loose up here. As you can see, it doesn't go all the way up. This one's more solid. So, for the most part, it's pretty much identical to the original SP. But as I said, is one major complaint that people had with this unit is the buttons. They're not super sensitive. They're not impossible to use. But you kind of have to push in and down a little bit. So you have to give it a little bit more force to get it to work with the original K1 unit. As you can see, it also says Game More Advanced SP up here. So it was trying to be a hardware clone in more than one way. It was trying to imitate the hardware in looks and in function. Now for compatibility with games, I found this actually works with most games I have, with only minor complaints. All the games I've tried so far are completely playable. Some games, like one game was missing a little bit of the background, and in Mega Man Battle Network, if you shoot your Mega Buster and don't hit anything, the sound won't, the proper sound won't come out. So it's a little bit of trouble emulating some sounds and some things from game backups and stuff. For the most part, everything is playable, and it plays them at full 60 FPS. So even if you're playing a really action-intensive game, it won't be a problem. All right, so the screen in here is obviously higher resolution than the original Game Boy Advance, so there will be a little bit of, you can't really see it in here, but the pixels aren't like perfect. Like it won't look exactly as it did on the original. It might look a little bit smooth. Oh yeah, and this does have sleep mode, if you didn't see from before, so you can put it in sleep mode. All the button combinations I'll show you guys later that, or you can watch a review for that. But overall, it was a pretty nice unit. The buttons were were a little bit insensitive. So, like, if you were playing Pokemon or whatever, it would be perfectly fine. All you gotta do is just push it a little bit. As you can see for this, I have absolutely no problem getting it to work. Just gotta wait for the little loading thing. And as you see here, I'm fine with it. But if you're playing something like Mega Man or maybe Tetris, we have to do quick movements from one button to the other, and you miss that movement, you're in big trouble. So that could like literally ruin your day in one of those games. But other than that, the performance is really, really great. Alright, so now moving on to the new unit. As you see, it's has a similar shape and design to the original Game Boy Advance. However, it does not have the same link port style. Yes, it uses the same type of link cables, but as you'll see from some accessories that need the little clips that would clip in right here, here and here, for like the Game Boy Player link and some other accessories, like the e-reader or whatever. E-reader doesn't use clips. It won't work because the link port's way over here and has no actual clips. I didn't actually see anyone mention that in reviews, but yeah. Alright, and one really nice thing about this unit over the other one is, well, certainly the design. I prefer the having buttons on both sides and a screen in the middle to the SP design because it feels a little less cramped that way. These buttons are extremely, like 100 times more sensitive than the other ones. All you have to do is just a light press, and it will just load up whatever you need to do. Again, Pokemon has a low loading screen, but as you can see, there's no missed input there. The other one, if I was doing that with the same amount of pressure, we'd have some problems. Alright, so, and just taking a look at the screen itself, this is also a higher resolution screen. This one actually has more rendering options than the old one. The old one would just have 4x3 and I think 3x2. But with this one, you can, here, I'll show you. With the original one, your rendering options are this or this. This would give you a more normal aspect ratio to the Pokemon game than to the Game Boy Advance games and the other ones. Those were your only two options. With this one, if for some reason you just want to see the pretty much, you can render it the original GBA resolution. I believe it's the original GBA resolution. Although you will have some black borders, of course, since the screen is higher resolution. So here's an example. This is original Game Boy Advance resolution. As you can see, all the pixels are nice and well defined, but you have a lot of black space. So yeah, not great. Alright, so one other thing to keep in mind is, since this is an original GBA style design, you actually have, let's see if we can find it, it's kind of hard to see without great lighting in here, you actually have a standard headphone port. One problem that's not really K1's fault is it's trying to emulate the SP, so as you can see, no headphone port. You actually had to use an adapter that plugs into your power port, so you couldn't charge and you couldn't listen to music at the same time, or listen to your game at the same time, which was kind of silly in my opinion, but that's how the SP designed to do it. Also, this is also for TV out as well, so if you wanted to play this on your TV, you couldn't charge at the same time. So basically this was used for pretty much everything, but at least you could still play multiplayer because the link port would still be open. Alright, now moving back to this unit again, we have two extra buttons you may have noticed, being wondering, what are these two buttons for? Well, these two buttons are actually L and R buttons. If you don't want to have to reach all the way up here, you can just simply press one of these and it would open the L and R features. Again, sorry you can't see the screen, but you know, can't really do anything about that very easily and still show you the features and functions of this device. Alright, let's go back to this one. And you would see down here with it maxed out, but since we're in my room, we can't really see that. Alright, and as you may have noticed up here, there is actually a USB port. This is mini USB as opposed to micro, which lots of phones are using now, but that's good because this is actually more durable. This is how you actually charge the device. All you'd have to do is just take your USB cable, I have one here, and then simply just plug it in and you can charge. And hey look, charging is not the same as headphones, so you can actually use headphones while charging. Also, TV out port is here, so that means it uses also a different cable, so you don't have to try to find those cables that adapt the power to TV out, because I'm pretty sure the only way you can get these is from K1 directly. My original one broke, so I had to get a replacement from them. They sent it to me for free, which was pretty nice. But yeah, there's no way you're going to find another one of these cables just out and about when you're at a store. But this uses the older style headphone jack, like the ones they use in old cell phones. Not the same ones you use in your current cell phones for your computer, but it uses that to split out the two cables. So it's going to be a lot easier to get this thing replaced than the actual one for the old system. Let's see, what else can I say? Oh yes, the battery. The battery is another big point. This does have better specs than the original one, hardware-wise. It supports opening the menu in games. But also, this original system only came with a 550 milliamp hour battery. And you may not know what that means, but just to give you a reference, let's see if I can find the specs of the original GBA. Nope. But basically, this came with a battery that was smaller than the original SP's battery. so it wouldn't last as long. Of course, you can replace this with an official SP battery, but I mean, coming out of the box with a battery that's smaller than the emulated, not really emulated, but was meant to replace, not super great. However, this new unit actually comes with a much larger battery. On the original k101 unit, this is the Plus, which is the one I'm selling now, came with a 600 milliamp hour battery, which is still better, but this latest one actually comes with a 800. So if you buy one of these now off their website, it'll come with an 800 milliamp hour battery. It's a different style too, so it would go right back here. Alright, so now you may be wondering, okay, well, what else can we say about this? Well, are there any differences like games it can play? Well, no, it should pretty much actually be the same. I mean, they both use the same exact hardware for running the game, so this will run games just as well as this would. This is no longer available, so if you saw someone playing this and you wanted that, you'd have to stick with this for now. I think the reason why they're going to a more unique unit now is not just for space concerns, but also because they want to establish their own brand more. Because if you look at this and you realize it's not an SP, it just seems like, oh yeah, it's just a cheap clone. But these K1 units are actually more than that. These K1 units are actually like, they're not just clones. They actually play cartridge games, which is really nice, which is something you can't do on anything else. They have link support, and this version actually supports multi-boot. So if someone has a game that supports a multiplayer with single cartridge, such as Super Mario Kart, you can just simply power this on with no cartridge inside, and you'll be greeted by this menu. This is the menu you'd be waiting for download play for certain games. So this actually supports receiving download play. The original unit did not. So as you see, turn this off, turn it back on. It's a blank screen. No text whatsoever. I've tried doing download play to this, and it does not work. Alright, so we're running out of things to say about this. I can't say for all the units, but for my unit, this original K1 SP was a little bit more sensitive to link cables. Not pass-through cables. Any cable, the one cable I had that had a port in the middle for 3-player or whatever, didn't seem to work on it. Could just be because the cable's old or whatever, but I couldn't get it to work on this at all. This worked on those just flawlessly, and I was able to download play using that cable to an official Game Boy Advance. Alright, and now for sound. How loud do these things get? Both of these have a single built-in speaker. This one has less holes than this one. So let's go ahead and start something up. Alright, on my not quite completely calibrated phone, we maxed out at about 84 decibels, which is over there. So let's go ahead and test it with the new unit to see if it gets any louder. That was at max volume, of course. Alright, after this we'll go into real-time clocks, and I'm sure some of you just came here to see that. Alright, as you can see with this, we got all the way up to 90 decibels. You can't really see the number because the screen's way too bright, but 90 is right there. It's past 80. And so as you can see, this actually gets a little bit louder. Again, the sound's not perfect, but I mean, they actually have headphone port readily available, so. But it's nice it gets louder. Alright, so the last thing we're going to go over is RTC, or real-time clock. This actually has an RTC built in, so all those games that required RTC, such as Pokemon, certain versions of those, and a few others, you'll actually be able to use that function, which is pretty nice. Just hold the power button in for a few seconds to start it back up. Alright, and for an example, we will use this game. Let's turn on the volume a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, it's daytime right here. I'm trying to get the image as clear as possible because the brightness is really bright even on the lowest setting. Alright, so if you hit the brightness button and L, you'll be taken to this menu. So we can go to RTC, and it has all the options for real-time clock, such as enable, disable, year, month, day, weekday, hour. So right now it says it's 9 a.m., which it is in real life. It's about that. So just go ahead and boost it up to 18 o'clock, which is 6 p.m. Alright. Now we back out and go back to continue game. And as you can see, it's gotten darker. It's actually nighttime in game. Again, it's kind of hard to see because of the brightness and stuff, but you can tell it's definitely darker than it was before. Alright, so let's just do that one more time. RTC, hour 9. There you go. Definitely brighter. See daytime. Alright, so yeah, that's about what I can think about right now. I mean, it plays games really well. It supports Link. It supports multi-boot. It works with more cables. So, I mean, that's really about it. If you want to learn more about this, just go ahead and watch my full review. It should be up by the time this is up, even though I recorded this first. I can't really think of anything else. I think that's it. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Game pack, that means it's the English version. Same thing. Line up the tabs. 45-degree angle first, then line up the tabs. And as long as you don't force it, you won't break any tabs. Once you have it 45 degrees, just let it go, and it slides into place. Alright, so just as a test to make sure it works, although there shouldn't be any problems as long as you made it clean and stuff, go ahead and stick it in your N64. You don't even have to put the screws in. Turn it on. Boop. And ta-da, start it up. So that means it's good. You can go ahead and prepare your second cartridge if you want. My